Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk. We're here at Dugan's Pub in Brevard, North Carolina, every Monday night to talk all things Brevard College athletics. Glad you're able to join us for tonight's show. We've got a big show on tap tonight. We'll be talking quite a bit of cycling as the Brevard College cycling team has returned home from the Mountain Bike National Championships in Big Bear Lake, California. A individual Omnium National Championship for Tyler Clark, 9 podium finishes, a third place overall team Omnium finish for the cycling team, and just a tremendous performance. They were greeted earlier today on the Brevard College campus by the Brevard College community, and great to have the cyclist in the house tonight. We'll also be talking some women's soccer with head coach Juan Mascaro. We'll talk some volleyball with a couple of the BC volleyball student athletes. We'll hear from head football coach Bill Kyatt, and also talk some men's soccer with head coach El Dana. Want to thank all of our sponsors: Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and Dugan's Pub. Do want to catch you up real quickly before we get into tonight's guests. First, some breaking news. 2 more USA South Athlete of the Week awards have been handed out, and these 2 go to one Women's Soccer Defensive Player of the Week, Rebecca Rojas. So she collects her second USA South Athlete of the Week award here in 2019, and also Mariana Rodriguez wins the volleyball Defensive Player of the Week for the USA South. So great to see those awards as the Tornadoes continue to add up that USA South Athlete of the Week count this season. Now to catch you up as far as results on the field, football team, a tough 24-23 result, a loss to Methodist that we will review with head coach Bill Kyatt later in the show. Men's soccer, a 1-0 loss at Greensboro, and then a big bounce back, a 1-0 win at William Peace in Raleigh in USA South Conference play. We will talk some men's soccer later in the show. Women's soccer, a 1-0 win over Agnes Scott, and then a sweep of the weekend's USA South Conference action with a 2-1 win over Wesleyan. Volleyball, we will talk some volleyball later in the show with a couple of those student athletes. The volleyball team won its first match of 2019 with a win over Agnes Scott on Saturday in Demorest, Georgia. Cross country is preparing for the USA South Conference Championship Saturday, November 2nd in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Women's basketball and men's basketball both open practice this week, and you do want to mark your calendars because the Tornado tip-off is coming to the Boshemer Gymnasium. That's set for Monday, November 4th. We'll do a special edition of Tornado Talk that night from the Boshemer Gymnasium. So mark your calendars for the night of November 4th, where we will tip off the Tornado basketball season. And that brings us to the Brevard College cycling program. And very excited to have these 2 seniors on the show as they make their way here to the Coach's Corner at Dugan's Pub. Seniors Carson Beckett and Hannah Arnsman as they get settled here at Dugan's on this edition of Tornado Talk. Great to have these 2 on the show. Carson, Hannah, thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Now, long road traveled, you guys, just to catch people up on like the practical matters, you guys flew all the way back from Southern California overnight last night after the event ended yesterday. Are you guys get a little bit of rest today at least?
A little bit, not much.
I got some sleep on the plane in the van.
Yeah, so you take what you can get at this point, but after such a exciting and real positive result-filled weekend, the adrenaline still had to probably be pumping, and you guys, I know, have had a blast. Well, we were fortunate enough to get to greet you when you arrived here at Brevard College.
That was
how did that
cool.
feel? Yeah, like were you guys surprised by the crowd out there at Brevard?
Yeah, we were like, wait, why'd she miss both driveways and then take us all the way around back? We're like, we were so done, so we didn't know what was going on. Then we came up and there was like a million people, so it was really cool.
Cool. Well, glad we were able to greet you there. Now let's get to the business at hand and reviewing this past weekend at the Mountain Bike National Championships. The first result I want to talk about is just the team omnium in general. You know, this was a deep team. Hannah, from the ladies' side, you know, much more women's racers than we've had in past years at the event, and accumulated a ton of points, ended up in third place overall. Overall thoughts as far as like as a unit, as a team, and how we performed at Big Bear Lake.
Yeah, it was, it was spectacular, especially because we were fielding a team pretty much at least half the size of everybody else's team. So that meant we had a lot of riders doing multiple events where a lot of the teams brought in, they had guys that were specializing in one, maybe two events. So it was all hands on deck for us, but it was super exciting. And, it came down to the very last event, and that was the team relay, and we were able to get on the podium. So
Yeah.
Overall thoughts, Hannah?
Yeah, it was definitely a matter of just making sure that every event you went into, you had to put 100% effort in, and sometimes it just didn't work out for some of the athletes, and it was cool to watch them get through that and let it go and move on to the next event. And I think that's really how we ended up third, is people just pushing through and letting go of mistakes or whatever went wrong and just keep putting their best out there.
Well, I'd like to kind of work backwards, and let's start with the team relay, which was the last event of the weekend. It's always like the one everybody's waiting for, and the most, the nerves are, going, throughout the venue. Well, this year's team, Hannah Carson, Tyler Clark, and Emma Schwab, ends up with a second place finish, a great result in an exciting race. Can you guys kind of catch folks up with, how that race went down?
yeah, so we had two women and two men, and basically each one of them does one lap, and the lap was about 4 to 5 minutes long. So Tyler Clark went first, and that's one of the harder positions to go. You really have got to like fight to try to get to the to come back through first for your team. So Tyler went first, and I went second, and then we had Emma go third and Hannah fourth. And yeah, it's just so hard because teams will stagger their riders in many different ways. So you just got to kind of find your strengths as a team. And I think we did the best thing we could. It's just, it's funny. I've been on, I don't know, at least 6 relays with Hannah over the years. So that's one of our most favorite events, and we know we can do well in it. So, and we're satisfied with second for sure.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that, Hannah?
Yeah, I know it's cool to, like Carson said, we've been doing it for a couple of years now. But Clark and Emma, this is kind of like a new thing for them. They got out there and just put some excellent efforts down. There's a lot of nerves running, and it was cool to see the whole team out there just screaming their lungs out throughout. They had staged throughout the whole course to cheer for us, so that there was never a section where we were just like by ourselves. They were always there.
Yeah, I feel like we have this team relay down pretty well at Brevard College. The cyclocross team relay national championship this past year. 1 year ago to date, we finished second as well at the mountain bike team relay. So another great result. Congratulations on that. Next one I want to talk about is the downhill. And Carson, you touched on this a little bit. Yourself, Tyler Orshell, and Tyler Clark, more cross-country type, guys, for the most part. But you guys, all three jumped into the downhill. And Carson, a great result, a top 10, a number 10 finish.
Yeah, that was good. It's pretty funny. The three of us were doing every event, just like Hannah as well. But, there's no rest during the week. Like, you want to focus, of course, on cross-country and short track and the things that you're really there for. But also, you have practices in between each event, qualifying rounds, final rounds, everything. So it's Yeah, it's a lot, but the downhill, I was really excited to put down a good run, and so were the other guys, just because, no one really expects us to perform in those events, so it's pretty funny to kind of come into it relaxed. But, yeah, I think we did a great job holding our own in that. So.
And Hannah, some great results on the women's side, women's varsity downhill. You finished 11th. And then a newcomer to the Tornadoes, but I know a cyclist who has a lot of experience in downhill, Rachelle Pajot, finishes 5th.
Yeah, that was a really cool race to be in. We got to do some practice together on the downhill runs, and it was really cool to get her insight because, yeah, she's definitely a seasoned rider with the gravity events, and it's not my forte. So it was good to get her points on that, and, yeah, at the end of the day, just to send it down the hill and give it all it's got. But yeah, I was really pleased with that result, and I was stoked for Rochelle.
Now, as we continue to kind of turn back the calendar through the weekend, the short track competition, was the main event on Saturday. We'll start with the men's side, Carson. Tyler Clark with a 4th place finish. Tyler Orchell, 6th place. Yourself, 7th. Ryan Johnson and Tyler Miranda also in that race. A podium and 3 top 10s, we'll take it most times, right, in the short track?
Yeah, definitely. We were stoked on that one, and we knew we had a really good presence as far as a team. So the struggle was getting kind of, me and both Tylers up to the front to try to really race as a team. So that was something that Tyler Orchell and I kind of struggled with, was just getting up to the front. So we kind of ended up riding solo most of the race, but yeah, that was a great event, and Clark held a really great spot up front, and I think that's what really helped our Omnium as well as a team is being able to capitalize on that result. So.
Now, Hannah, on the women's side, I was in communication with head coach Brad Purley throughout the weekend, and he described the women's varsity short track as wild. And as a wild affair, they're still sorting things out. As I was fishing for results, you end up finishing 7th. In total, 6 Tornadoes on the women's side raced in that short track race. What do you remember from the short track this weekend?
Oh my, it was a hectic day for sure. I remember starting that first lap and being like, all right, well, this is not the best place to be. And then all of a sudden 2 girls go down in front of me, and somehow I made it between both of them. And I was like, oh my goodness. I hope nobody else from the team goes down in that. I just kept racing. About half a lap later, but I was like, the race is neutralized. Everybody just go back to the start line. We're like, I've never heard of that before in a short track, but here we are. And, I could look back, and all my teammates are unscathed, so I was stoked about that. We just took it in stride and went and rode around together and just stayed calm. It was actually a great effort for us because it was like a little sprint before the actual race, so we got a little extra warm-up and just took it that way. So when we lined up again, we were like, all right, let's go. And we were all ready to go. So it was really cool to see the girls keep that mental stability, just keep going, even with the restart. And most of them are freshmen, so it was like, it's a good foreboding for future years.
Yeah, I certainly want to give all of them a shout out. Emma Schwab, Hannah Dixon, Nicole Rusden, Michaela Gray, and Eliza Tobias. Joining yourself, Hannah, and Rachelle Pajot, who focused mainly on the gravity, but some real depth on the women's side. Do you remember that women's short track race and what Hannah's talking about as far as that sort of almost controversial mid-race adjustment there?
Yeah, we had done our race and immediately grabbed our our bigger trail bikes and gone over to race dual slalom. Because the timing of the Omnium events was hectic. You finished one event and we had to go straight over. So as we were waiting on dual slalom to start practicing it, I noticed they had done one lap and then I hadn't seen anybody. And yeah, they had a big crash in the start of the women's race and they had to restart it because they couldn't get people out of the way and there was some injuries. But yeah, it was good to see them all kind of keep their heads and just get ready for the restart, because like Hannah said, I've never experienced that in a race before. So Yeah.
Yeah, wild stuff in the women's short track on Saturday. And then the weekend really began in terms of race competition with the cross-country races on Friday. On the men's side, Tyler Clark finishes third. Carson, you finished sixth. Tyler Orshell 10th. Some great results from Ryan Johnson, 22nd, and Tyler Miranda, 24th as well. We'll start with you again, Carson, on the varsity cross-country race on Friday.
Yeah, that race was it was interesting. It was 8 a.m., barely light out, and probably, I don't know, mid 30 degrees. And so it was a unique morning for sure. But yeah, we had a great, smooth cross country race. We had, the two Tylers and myself were up front, and the elevation kind of got the better of me, and I faded a bit, but yeah, really smooth races overall, and I was really, really happy to see how well Ryan and Tyler Miranda did, being their first mountain bike nationals at elevation, in a terrain they've never rode, and they really did well. They held their own, and I'm really proud of the effort they put in for sure.
Now, Hannah, before we get to a breakdown of your cross-country race, can you comment a little on the elevation as well as the temperature at Big Bear Lake and how that might have been a factor for a team like us?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a bit higher in Big Bear. Yeah, sometimes you get there a couple days before, you don't feel it. Other times you get there a couple days before and just like what Carson said, you just like something's missing, that little extra zip in your legs. Yeah, and I definitely saw that with a few of the girls in my race. They were just like, not the girls on my team, but other competitors, just feeling the effects of the altitude. It's just like they were tired when they shouldn't have been.
Yeah, and I'm sure in those cross-country races is where you see that the most. And in the women's varsity cross-country, Hannah, you end up with a 9th place finish, a top 10. How'd you feel that day?
Actually, I felt great. I don't think the altitude affected me at all this weekend. I did have some flight issues the day before getting in because I was coming in a little bit later than they were. And due to flight delays, I didn't get in until like 11 that Thursday night. So I didn't actually see the cross-country course before I raced it. So the uphill, I paced real good. I felt good on that. And then when I hit the downhill, I was like, I'm running this blind. So I got passed by a couple of girls, but ended up passing them back on the next uphill. And I sorted out the downhill for that second time. But, yeah, the girls put in a solid effort. That is a brutal first nationals course to do. It was like 4 miles straight uphill. Yeah. And the girls just put in a great effort. Emma, Hannah, and Nicole and Eliza. And I forget all their names.
Emma, Nicole, Michaela, Hannah,
Michaela,
Eliza.
that's the one I'm forgetting.
Yeah, it's a great effort. Again, like just phenomenal kind of the depth of the team and all these newcomers, performing at this event. Now, just a couple more for you all before I let you go and let you rest up some more tonight. One, do want to talk a little bit about this sophomore Tyler Clark, who wins the individual Omnium National Championship. Second national championship in the individual Omnium, really in as many events for a Brevard College rider. Scott McGill did it at the Road Racing National Championships in Augusta. Can each of you just comment on Tyler and, how special of a racer he is?
Yeah, it's great. He had an interesting midseason. He broke his wrist and was off for a lot of time, so he's really been building towards the fall. And I could tell in the last 3 races we were doing in the conference races, I was like, he's getting faster every weekend, and he's on a great trajectory. And so I was really happy to see him. I knew he would do well in the endurance events, but I was really happy to see him put together like smooth and safe and fast runs in the gravity events. And yeah, I mean it's something I've been chasing for 4 years, and I've been close, but I was happy to see him put just enough pieces together and to take it. That's a lot. 4 events in Omnium plus a relay is 5 total events. So he's doing well. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, and from non-racing side, Clark's just a great great teammate in general, always looking out for the other people around him. Not full of himself, very humble. So excited for him to see that hard work pay off and that humility. It carries over.
Yeah. So congratulations to Tyler, and really congratulations to the entire team for helping him, win that championship. It's very much a team award, not just an individual award when that Omnium is captured. Now, I'm going to get a little sentimental with you two because you two are seniors, and by all calculations, unless you got some hidden year of eligibility in your back pocket that I'm not aware of, this was your last mountain bike national championships on the collegiate side. Now I know there's cyclocross and road racing still to come. So there's a chance to to race plenty more on the collegiate side and then some more national championships. But this was it for the mountain biking national championship run for each of you two. I know you guys love mountain bikes. I mean, I see you all the time. Just take off from campus and head on into Pisgah or DuPont State Park and get after it. So on this long trip back to North Carolina from California, did you have any time to kind of reflect on that hey, what a run this has been, these years at Brevard College, and how cool of an experience it's been to be part of a college team like the Tornadoes?
I thought about it on the way back, and every year it seems like it gets even better with the team, and the attitude gets better, and the atmosphere is better, and it's it's a little bittersweet. A lot of people ask me if I'm ready to graduate and get out of here, but in all honesty, I wish I had 5 more years. It's it's fun, and I'm grateful for my time, and I just hope that I can continue to pour everything out for the team and in the coming races, and I hope I've left enough of a mark to help them out. So
Yeah, similar feelings. I definitely thought about it going in and coming back. It's just well, that was fast.
Yeah.
I remember freshman year. They were all saying, "Oh, it's gonna go by so fast." I'm like, I don't know. 4 years seems like a long time, but yeah, no, it's been a great run. Like Carson said, the team's just the attitude's just gotten better and better over the years, and I'm just so excited to leave it on this note and see these sophomore, freshmen, juniors take over. And I hope I also leave everything I got these last semester and a half for them, and learn from them what I can, because it's always a learning process.
Outstanding. Well, congratulations on another successful weekend at the National Championships this weekend. Just great results all the way around. You two, obviously, a huge part of that. And congrats on a great mountain biking career on the collegiate side. I know you guys have your individual professional careers going as well. At the same time, we'll be following along on that, the mountain bike side. And, of course, we'll be following when Brevard College is back in the cyclocross action coming up real soon. Thanks for joining the show tonight. Enjoy it this week, fall break, so you don't have to worry about classes. You can kind of rest up, I would imagine. And congrats again on just a tremendous effort at the National Championships. Thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
All right. Outstanding. Hannah Arnsman and Carson Beckett. Really appreciate them coming on the show immediately following their return to Brevard, North Carolina, after the Collegiate Mountain Bike National Championships in Big Bear Lake, California. Tornadoes with some tremendous results in that one. Number 3 overall in the Team Omnium. 9 podium finishes, 16 top 10 finishes, and an individual Omnium National Championship for sophomore Tyler Clark. So congrats again to the Brevard College cycling team under the direction of head coach Brad Purley. And now we'll switch gears. Great to have on the program head women's soccer coach Juan Mascaro.
Hey, Phil, how are you today?
Coach, good to talk to you again. We were able
Absolutely.
to catch up briefly after yesterday's 2-1 win over Wesleyan.
Yeah.
Let's start there for folks who might not have had the chance to, perhaps watch the broadcast or get out there to Ives Lamel Family Field. A 2-1 win over Wesleyan. The game started with a goal by Alyssa Hetherington.
Yep.
On a corner kick. Abby Petrosky puts it into play. Audrey Cardwell gets a piece of it,
Yep.
and ultimately Hetherington with the finish. Can you kind of break down that first half and that goal there in the first half?
Yeah. So one of the things that I want to compliment the team on is, we've been true to our system of play, and we've been true to our style, and when you go a few games without winning, it's hard to stay true to the style of play, but they've done a great job at being true to that. And yesterday was great evidence of that. The first half, I think we played a great half of soccer, scored a goal, let one soft goal in. But then the second half, we took like 19 shots in the second half. So it was, it really came together for us in the second half. I think the team played really, really well after having played the day before. So it's back-to-back games, and that's hard. And Wesleyan had not played the day before, but the team came together, and we got some people that were out for concussions, injuries, and stuff like that. So we got people back, and we put a great 90 minutes of soccer yesterday.
And capped off by that penalty kick goal by Sally Riggin.
Correct.
A finish there in the second half to get the 2-1 win. All season long, they've been very tight results.
It's been very tight.
Converting on a penalty kick is major.
It's major. We had one last Wednesday where we tied 0-0 and we missed a penalty. So I was rooting for Sally to put that one in, and she did, and she did great. The team is in a pretty good spot right now.
Coach, I would like to talk about that style of play you mentioned a little more. And from my vantage point, it seems like a very patient possession style of play. Especially the defenders, just very calculated and taking their time, not rushing anything, not afraid to work it from side to side, and just some great work back there. Players like Erica Zuffrey and Vaughn come to mind. Can you talk a little more about sort of the philosophy and how they're executing it?
So the philosophy is possession soccer. We don't go direct. We go from side to side, because soccer is a game like most sports is about time and space. So creating time and space is the key. So when the ball is on one side of the field, the space and the time is on the other side of the field. So working that ball to the other side of the field is key for us. And you have to be patient, when they are pressuring you, which is the key here. Wesleyan came at us and they were pressuring us, but we never lost focus. We were very patient. We dealt with the pressure, and when we went to the other side of the field, we had tons of space on the other side. And you have to commend that, because it's hard to do. It's really, really hard to do. It's easier to kick it and run. And a lot of teams do that. A lot of teams play very direct, and that's their style. And it's more of a kick and run, and it's a track meet almost. Who has the fastest players up top, wins. We really, really like to keep the ball. We really like to have the ball and then be deliberate with it and take care of it and open up spaces. Now, what's important for them to understand is possession is great, but it's got to have a purpose. You can't just possession doesn't score goals.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
So you got to have a purpose, and the purpose is obviously to create a scoring chance. So you gotta be deliberate with it. Find the time and the space, and create a cross, create a shot. Create a scoring opportunity.
Yeah, and oftentimes it is a very kind of deliberate, piece by piece build-up. You'll see a couple throw-ins and, the ball moving its way down the field, and then ultimately a corner kick, it results in a goal.
And we go sometimes 3/4 of the field, and if it's not on, we play it back. And we play all the way back to the backs just to open up that space and try to pull those defenders out to create space in behind them. But you have to be very patient, and you have to be very deliberate about it. But and deal with the pressure. And this is true in most sports. A great player will become a very average player under pressure, because you reduce their time and space, which is what everybody needs to be able to perform. So we dealt very well with that yesterday, and very well with that also Saturday. I think we did a good job this weekend.
Yep, the
overall.
1-0 win over Agnes Scott on Saturday, a goal by Ashley Royster for the game winner. Do want to mention your goalkeeper, Rebecca Rojas, who's part of that whole formula, and also won today second USA South Athlete of the Week award for the 2019 season. Congrats to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you comment even further on
Absolutely
Rebecca?
on fire. She's on fire. She's definitely on fire. You know, and it's by the style that we play, we use her feet. You know, we play it back to her, and she has to deal with it, and she does a tremendous job. I mean, it's like almost having an extra field player for us because we're not afraid of playing it back to her. Not a lot of teams can do that, and with the style, we have to do that, and she copes with it really well. And I mean, she's on fire. I think she's got 23 shots and has saved 22 of them. I mean, just let one goal in.
And some of them just electric saves, diving, you know, punching it over.
She saved us on Wednesday against Warren Wilson. I mean, Warren Wilson did not come to our side a whole lot, but when they did, the 3 times that they did, they were pretty dangerous. And I mean, she saved us, and that is what a good goalkeeper does. You know, he keeps you in games, and that's the job. And she's doing it tremendously, and she's on fire. Just a tremendous goalkeeper and a tremendous kid.
Well, we're a little over midway through the season, and would kind of like to talk about, you know, this year's team in this regard. You know, last year's team was senior-led, just some tremendous players. Caroline David, Ashley Hughes, who's on your coaching staff, Megan Shina, just putting up great numbers, taking the team to ECAC championships. We knew going into this year that it was going to be hard to replace those 3 amongst others. However, a lot of young talent, a lot of, you know, young faces and you know, ready to get in there. Now that we're sort of midway through or so, you know, how do you feel about how this team's doing and how those young players are doing in particular?
I feel a lot better after this weekend because it takes time. It takes time to adjust to the college game. The college game is very physical. It's a very physical game in every sense of the word. I mean, you have to be physically fit to play it. It's a fast-paced game. It's very taxing on your body. Sometimes you're doing, you know, 2 or 3 games a week. So it's really taxing. So I feel a lot better after the weekend because I think everything is coming together now. And that's what it takes. You know, it normally takes them about, you know, 75% of the season to get used to it, to the young ones. You know, and then next year it'll be better. And you know, when you are in college coaching, you know, you always go through cycles, and you enjoy when you're at the top and you have senior heavy class, and there's a lot of leadership, there's a lot of understanding, and there is a lot of goals and excitement and all that. But sometimes you have to go back and rebuild, and you know, and you get young talent, and you have to make sure they progress and they understand what it takes to win.
Well, after those 2 wins this weekend over Agnes Scott and Wesleyan, next up is a match at Berea on Saturday. It's also fall break here on the Brevard College campus. Did you make some adjustments in terms of the team schedule heading into that game this weekend?
We gave them a couple of days off, so they're going to have 3 days off, and I think we need it. We need some time off to you know, rest is part of recovery. It's part of practice.
Sure.
You gotta be able to recover. So we gave them 3 days off. We'll go at it again on Thursday. Practice Friday before we leave, and then we're leaving Friday night, and getting ready to hit on Berea on Saturday.
Very good. And then the next chance for Tornado fans to catch them here at home at Ives Lamel Family Field Tuesday, October 22nd, a week from tomorrow, versus Maryville. Coach, would like to kind of talk big picture athletic program in Brevard College with you too. Most folks know, you know, you also hold a role here at the college, you know, CFO and vice president. Can you talk about, and also you're a former athletic director, you know, here at Brevard. Can you talk about where the college is today and sort of the momentum that Brevard College is on? You know, we just have these cyclists on the program coming off this national championship, and you could feel the energy on campus today.
It's an exciting time for Brevard College, obviously. You know, we're coming this year. We had our biggest class since we became a 4-year school. Over 750 students, which for us is huge. So there's a lot of excitement. There is a lot of growth that is going on. A lot of fixing up, a lot of stuff. So it is exciting times. I think the college is heading in the right direction. I think we're bucking the trend. Growth is not a lot of small private colleges are growing at this time. But I think we've been true to our mission, which is experiential education, and we're staying true to that mission. And I think the market likes that. And the kids nowadays like experiential learning, hands-on. And we can see it. We can see it by the admission numbers. This is the 3rd year in a row that we have record enrollment of first-year students, and a lot of things happening on the retention side of things. So we're keeping more students. We're bringing more students in, and that's going to grow. I mean, the college is going to grow. We don't want to make it. We still want to be a small private liberal arts school, but I think we can grow a little bit more.
Outstanding.
There's room for growth.
Well,
Definitely.
from the athletic department side, you can feel the energy. The
Absolutely.
student athletes are having a great time,
They are.
with their experience at Brevard College, and winning certainly helps.
Absolutely,
And,
no question.
and a
It
lot of the
does.
teams have been
It
on
does.
all sorts of winning streaks
Absolutely.
this season.
I mean, our football team is it's phenomenal. They're 3-1 and best start, since I can remember.
That's right.
Right.
We'll be catching up with Coach Kyatt shortly here.
Yeah.
Coach, thank you for your leadership of the women's soccer program, but
Absolutely.
also at Brevard College in general.
Yep.
Good luck. As the team continues USA South Conference
Yep.
play. Final thoughts as far as what Tornado fans can expect these last few weeks.
Well, we're going to go and try to win every single game we play. So we have about 5 left. So we're going to go and try to get 5 wins.
Very good. Well, Coach, thanks for joining the program.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate
folks,
it.
come on out
Thanks
to
for
Ives
having us.
Lamel Family Field. It's a great product to watch that women's soccer team in action. A lot of fun, especially when it's under the lights at Ives Lamel Family Field. And great to have head coach Mascaro on the program. Well, we've talked mountain bikes. We've talked women's soccer. And now we're going to go indoors. Glad to be joined now by Morgan Graham and Hannah Gordon, 2 members of the Brevard College volleyball team. Thanks for joining the show, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Well, ladies, I would like to start with the following. The team had a win this weekend, a big, big win over Agnes Scott, straight sets. I know you guys have been working hard this season, to get that first victory of the year. How did it feel on Saturday to finally get the victory?
It was great. Oh my gosh, we were all so happy. Yeah, it felt really good to finally have a win. And all the hard work that we put into practice every day and even every game, it finally paid off.
Very good. And would like folks to get to know you all a little better. Morgan, we'll start with you, sophomore defensive specialist.
Yep.
Is that still the case? So you're a defensive specialist?
Yes. Last year I was kind of like a second setter in a way, like for a backup or whatever, and now I'm like specifically just defense because we have a lot of people, like a lot more freshmen came in. Yeah.
Very good. And is that the position you feel like you're the most comfortable at?
Yes, very. I mean, I would always, of course, I would love to be front row hitting, but a little short for that.
Well, and that's interesting you say that because on the last show we had a couple of the hitters on the show, Sarah and Brianna.
Yeah.
And we gave the audience a little bit of volleyball 101, or in other words, volleyball for dummies. You've seen those books that are like, So
Yeah.
we taught our audience what a middle blocker is, what an outside hitter is, and what a right side is.
Yeah.
So tonight, let's teach them some more. What is a defensive specialist?
A defense specialist is usually someone who's just back row. You can always spot them because they are the shortest. Yeah, and we're the people out there, like, we don't score points necessarily, but we keep the other team from scoring. We we hold it down back there.
Yeah, and certainly the dig is such an important part of that,
Yes.
that game back there. Now, Hannah, junior setter, but you've also been hitting a little bit this season, correct?
A little bit. Not much. I usually am setting all the way around, but I set front row. So I usually put up a block. But since I'm usually setting the other 2 hitters, I don't get that many chances to hit. But, yeah.
All right, well, let's continue our education of the audience. Teach folks who might not know much about volleyball and, this terminology, what a setter's job is.
So a setter always gets the second ball. The defensive specialist usually digs it, and then the setter sets a hitter. And usually setters call plays for every single hitter to hit, and each whenever it's served, you run plays and think of ways to score on the other team.
Very good. Now, Hannah, we'll stick with you just to let folks know you're a local
Yes.
from Brevard, North Carolina, Brevard High School.
And Brevard Middle School.
And Brevard Middle School?
Yes.
Where'd you go to elementary?
Brevard.
Very good. Like a clean sweep
Yeah.
all the way through. So growing up here at Brevard, how special is it to play your college ball here and, I'm sure have the opportunity to play in front of all sorts of family and friends?
Yeah, definitely. After high school, I didn't think I was going to keep playing volleyball, so I went to a different college, and then I realized I missed it a lot. And when I heard that I could play at Brevard, I was so excited to come home and be able to be with my friends, and I really loved all the teammates. And yeah, it's just really fun that my family can still watch me and that I can keep going.
Very good. Now, Morgan, you're from Covington, Virginia, Allegheny High School.
Yep.
So Covington, Virginia to Brevard, North Carolina. I mean, not that far out of the stretch of imagination that you would wind up here, but how did you wind up here?
I actually played travel ball. I've played travel ball ever since I was a freshman in high school, and I went to a tournament down here in Raleigh and Charlotte, and they either found me at the Raleigh one or the Charlotte one, and it was like we were texting and like we were really talking. It was really easy to come here. The recruiting process was very easy, and I loved the coach Anna and Bailey. Met them, and I was just like, I really kind of want to do this. So here I am.
Very good. Now, I do want to ask each of you about one of your teammates who's in the house tonight, because she just won an award today. I'm not sure if you guys got word.
Yes.
And
Very
so
proud of her.
Mariano Rodriguez, Defensive Player of the Week for USA South Conference, a big award. First time a Brevard College Tornado volleyball player has won one of those awards from the USA South Conference, so a big accomplishment. Before we get into what you guys think of her, how did that break in terms of the news and the team? Did you guys see it on social media and then kind of spread the word amongst each other?
Yeah, we were in the locker room, and she was like, she looked at her phone, and she kind of screamed, and we were like, what's wrong? Like, what just happened? And she was like, I just won the thing of the South, and we were like, oh my God. And we all posted the post on our stories, shouting out, my best friend and everything like that.
Awesome.
Very proud. Well earned.
Definitely. She's worked so hard. She worked so hard every single practice, and she definitely deserves it.
Well, she had a big week, 19 digs, 3 service aces, 2 assists, and a kill in the win over Agnes Scott, and then 19 digs over Covenant. She's way up there in the conference standings in terms of leaders in her categories as well. Anything else you want to add about your teammate, the vocal leader of this team in many ways?
Yeah, definitely.
Nothing hits the floor without her body going after it for sure. I like playing with her, when we're both in back row in the rotations, I know she has my back, and because even off the court, we're very close, and she's really good.
Yeah, on the court and off the court, you can just always trust her. And like she says, her body's always on the ground if the ball's there. She's always giving 100%, if not more. And we all just kind of look up to her in a way because she's very, I don't know, she kind of holds the team together, and she's very encouraging.
Well, you all have been on the road, I think, more than any other Tornado
Yes.
team, so far this season. You're finally going to be rewarded with some home matches, and that all starts this Wednesday versus Piedmont at the Boshemer Gymnasium. Want to encourage folks to come out. It's a 6 p.m. start. How excited are you guys to get to play at home again?
I'm excited to warm up and listen to our music for the warm up music. Very excited, and I feel like we have a very good chance because when we've been away, they've been playing at the tournaments that we've been at, and we've kind of seen them play, and we feel like it's very well matched, and feel like we might have a streak going.
Yeah, I'm so excited to play at home again. It's kind of tiring to travel every single weekend, and it just feels good to finally be home. And yeah, like she said, we definitely have a chance.
And our family can come. It's a lot closer for some.
Well, want to encourage folks to come on out Wednesday night,
Yes.
see these two in action along with the entire Brevard College Tornadoes volleyball team, 6 p.m. at the Boshemer Gymnasium. Ladies, before I let you go, I'll give you the opportunity to say hello to anybody who might be tuning in. If you want to give a shout out to anyone, the floor is yours.
I think my mom might be watching because I told her about it. So, hi, Mom.
Same. Hey, Mom. And hey to my team and coaches.
Very good. Well, nicely job tonight. Nice job on Tornado Talk. Congratulations on getting that win this weekend. I know that you guys have been working so hard, and that had to feel great. And we'll see you on Wednesday night at the Bosch, and hopefully keep that winning streak going.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Great to talk to a couple of those volleyball student athletes, Morgan Graham and Hannah Gordon. And those two will be in action this Wednesday night at the Boshemer Gymnasium. If you want to check out some Brevard College Tornadoes volleyball, head on out to the Bosch this Wednesday night. And you'll also have a chance to see the Brevard College Tornadoes football team back in action this Saturday at 1 p.m. kickoff against Huntington. And we're joined now, as we are every Monday in the Tornado football season, by head coach Bill Kyatt. Coach, thanks for joining the show.
Appreciate you having me, Phil.
Well, Coach, a tough defeat on Saturday, 24-23 loss to Methodist that came down to the last minute. Before we kind of break down, the 4 quarters of that game, overall, what did you feel good about as far as what the team did?
Well, I want to really look at the first half of the season because that has now been completed. So we're halfway through our schedule, and we finished with 1 loss. And I think that shows tremendous growth in this program from where we started 2 years ago to where we are now. In the previous 2 seasons, we started out with only 1 win in the first half. And now in year 3, after the first half, we only have 1 loss. So I'm just extremely proud of our players and the things that they were able to accomplish in the first half of the season.
Good point, Coach, because, from my perspective, a 5-game win streak becomes winners of 5 of their last 6, dating back, to the end of last season. So certainly the team overall, on the right trajectory. This was a difficult defeat to kind of, swallow, I would imagine, because it came down to the final seconds of the game. Can we kind of start there, what happened at the end of that game for folks who might not have been able to tune in?
Okay, so for the 4th consecutive week now, the offense really did struggle in the first half. And the defense is out on the field for most of the first half leading into the second half. It was very humid out there in Fayetteville that day. And we actually had many injuries that came up during the game. That quarterback threw the ball 48 times. Now, usually that would play to our strength because of the secondary that we have. But that means that's 48 times that ball's going out somewhere in the area of those 4 players. So next thing you know, we're playing guys that haven't played much at all. And if they did play, it was very limited. And now they're out in the most crucial situations as time is winding down. But as we got into the 4th quarter and the offense started to click and we were able to take the lead, so we were actually up 23-17 with 2 and change left on that clock. And eerily similar to last year against Methodist when we were up 5 points and it came down to the defense being out on the field and stopping them on a 4th and 4 to secure the victory. So the way the defense has played all year, our team was thrilled to know that they were the ones that were going to be out there to bring home the win for us. So, Methodist got stuck in a 3rd and 27 situation, and our defense, they're not machines out there. They're humans. So there are opportunities to make errors. And unfortunately, on 3 consecutive plays, we just had 3 individual errors that allowed Methodist to move the ball on 3 plays into the end zone to go up 24-23.
Yeah, so 24-23 defeat at Methodist. Now, you talked about taking that lead in the second half, Coach, and the result is some explosive plays. I mean, we're seeing a 79-yard touchdown pass to Brandon Norris from Dalton Cole, and then a 64-yarder and a 44-yarder to Jamario Parks. The 44-yarder put the Tornadoes ahead 20-17. Explosive plays from the passing side of the offense. Had to be happy to see those.
Yes, and I'm thrilled for Brandon Norris, who now holds the record for longest touchdown reception in school history. He could have had that against Christopher Newport, ended up getting tackled short, and the guys heckled him a little bit about it.
So now we just need Parks to get that kickoff return, and then
we're all set.
Everything's set.
So we just found him a new way to get in the end zone. But so that on that particular play to Brandon Norris, that's a play that we ran well last year against an opponent, and there's a particular coverage that the opponent this time around, Methodist, used, so we knew that that play could apply here. So it was something that Dalton had a lot of experience with, as did our receivers. And Dalton was able to see him open, made a beautiful throw. Brandon caught it in stride and went 79 yards for a touchdown. Now the two plays to Parks for the touchdowns, that's what I'm really impressed with, is because those were in-game adjustments. So believe it or not, those two particular situations we did not practice during the week. Now they have come up over time in the past, but during this particular week, that was never shown on any film. And once we saw that look the first time, we brought everybody over to the sideline. Now, these are things that you can do when you have juniors and seniors and guys that have played a lot of football. Make some sideline adjustments that aren't, they're really beyond adjustments, because an adjustment is really, okay, on this play, we're just going to tweak it this little bit and make this one little adjustment. For us, it was like a whole new thing. Hey, we're going to create this new thing to do because it will be perfect against what Methodist is doing. And that a lot of times can backfire on you, especially if you have younger players, because they just have no experience at it at all. So those were really two things that we didn't practice during the week, but the guys were able to draw on their history as players to know, okay, this would make sense in this situation. I know how to handle this. We got it, coach. And sure enough, as soon as the situation presented itself, everyone identified it, including our center, who has to see everything. The man that snaps the ball has to identify everything, let everybody know who to block, how to handle it, and then Dalton just has to know which receiver to throw to. And with Park's speed, you know, if I were the defensive coordinator, I would not probably have done that. But really, there's not a whole lot of film of Parks as in the receiving and where he was lined up. So that was an adjustment that we made, was to put him in a position that he hadn't been on film before, which was real in close next to the offensive line. So that would really mess up with what Methodist was trying to do, which allowed us to get those two explosive plays to Parks for touchdown.
Do want to touch on the defense as well. It seemed like up front a pretty good game, you know, from that pass rushing standpoint. Sacks recorded by Jerome Bass, Stefan Kennedy, and Toby Naylor. Brandon Crawford also forced a fumble. There were two fumbles in all forced against Methodist. Pleased with that front seven of the defense?
Extremely pleased. And, you know, there was going to be a lot of pressure put on those guys when you know that you have a quarterback that's going to have 48 pass attempts in the game. If he's going to be throwing a lot and we got to try to take away that throw, well, now that opens all those run lanes. So you've got to be able to be in there to stop the run, and then at the same time get some pass rush, because if they are going to throw it 48 times, somebody better get to that quarterback. Now what Methodist needed to do was a lot of those completions were short, because they just had to get the ball and get it out of the hand fast because of the guys that we have getting in there to the quarterback. So it was a good game plan by Methodist to try to stay away from situations where we could get in there, bat a ball down, get a sack, you know, get the quarterback, having to move around and throw off balance. So it was very good all the way around.
Well, Coach, a unique week this week because it's fall break at Brevard College. Before we get into the game plan against Huntington on Saturday, what's the plan for the team this week with the week off from classes?
Okay, so, you know, we've been in such a nice rhythm. So there's a difference between routine and rhythm for us. Routine is just, hey, it's the daily grind and we're just doing this. But we like to call it a rhythm, where we've been doing the same things because it's got a nice beat to it. It's got a nice pace to it, and the guys know what to expect, and they're not on edge wondering how we're going to do things. This week is a little unique in the fact that, they don't have the class schedule that we have to build around, so we are going to move the practice time up a little bit, but that's to try to take advantage of being able to rest the guys while they're learning and preparing. In years past, we didn't use Monday as a practice day during the fall break, and it hasn't worked out so well for us. So that is one change that we made, that we had the guys in with us today. So that way we could wrap up Methodist and get that behind, because anytime you fall from the ranks of the unbeaten, it's going to be devastating. And I didn't want that to spill all the way into Tuesday, and it's lingering.
Sure.
So I wanted to make sure that that was completely out of their system. We took them out on the field to do some exercise, but it was football related, but it was more exercise and team bonding type. And then we jumped into Huntington this afternoon. Even though the formal game plan wasn't presented, we allowed the players to watch the film with the coaches, almost watching it together to evaluate with us, so they see what it is that we see, not just the final result, which is the game plan. And then during the week, the only thing that will really change for us, the same amount of time will really be spent. We'll just have additional time for some walkthroughs. We're just moving our practice time that would normally be 4 to 6:15. We're just moving that up earlier in the day, let them get off their feet at night, get some rest, get ahead in the classroom, just take advantage of this time.
Very good. And you mentioned Huntington, 1 p.m. this Saturday at Brevard Memorial Stadium. What's going to be the key for the Tornadoes to get a win against Huntington?
Okay, well, there's a couple things about Huntington that I want to mention. One is that, with the head coach, he's one of the most respected head coaches in the USA South, Coach Mike Turk. Just an incredible coach, great man, and his program is always so well run. It's first class from beginning to end. If you've ever set foot on their campus on game day, you'd see how they do it down there in Alabama. And so his players, the type of players he recruits, the things that he does, first class, sound, just excellent all the way around. I mean, it's something that if you're a new program, you would probably want to model yourself after Huntington and how they do it. As far as trying to achieve victory, okay, the first thing that we needed to do was to get that out of our system and not be hanging on the fact that we lost that game. Okay, we lost the game, but we're not out of the driver's seat yet to reach the ultimate goal for these players, which is to win the conference. So we can still get there. Huntington has a very explosive offense. Okay, and one player in particular, Otis Porter, wide receiver, he's 58 yards away from being the all-time leading receiver in the school's history. So if you look at the things that he has done this year and in the past, okay, you talk about explosive plays. I mean, if you were interviewing someone from Huntington right now, there'd be a 5 sheets right there about Otis Porter and things that he can do. So you want to take him out of the game, not make him a factor. But you commit too many people to Otis Porter, they got enough firepower on that offense, not just to find another receiver, but to be running that ball and running that ball and running that ball. So it'll be an interesting balance of how we play it to make sure that we do that. And then offensively, this is the time now in years past, once we get to that midway point in the year when we start our second half of the season, that we've really been on fire. And if you look back at all the statistics over the past 2 years, we've really produced in the second half of the season. So now the thought is we've got to get going from the jump. We cannot allow 2 quarters to pass with no points. We did that in Christopher Newport. We can't allow 2 quarters to pass with no points. We did that against Methodist. We can't allow 2 quarters to pass with 3 points. We did that against Maryville. So I told them that at some point that's going to come back to bite them. And sure enough, it did. Yes, we did take the lead, but that shouldn't have been a 6-point lead. That should have been a 26-point lead at that point. So if we can come out from the opening kickoff and get some points on the board early, it allows everyone to take a deep breath and relax, and not a sense of, oh, here we go again.
Well, folks, head on out to Brevard Memorial Stadium on Saturday, 1 p.m. if you want to see the Tornadoes back in action on their home field. Going to be a great matchup against a formidable Huntington team. Coach, thanks for joining Tornado Talk. Best of luck in preparation for Huntington.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, Phil.
All right, that was head coach Bill Kyatt from the Tornadoes football team talking preview of that big Huntington game this Saturday. And we'll go from football back to the soccer field. Pleased to be joined now by head coach El Dana of the Tornadoes men's soccer program. Always great to have Coach Dana on the program. Coach, thanks for joining the show.
Good to see you.
Well, Coach, do want to start by just catching folks up with this weekend. You know, back-to-back matches in USA South Conference play on the road for the Tornadoes. And, you know, since you're on the road yet again, you know, folks may have had a tough time, you know, seeing the match, you know, on a broadcast or what have you. So if we can kind of take folks through what they might have missed. You know, first being a 1-0 loss, a tough result for the Tornadoes at a very good Greensboro team.
Yeah, Greensboro is a tough place to play, even though we're used to the turf. It's a little bit of different kind of turf that they have. The settings are different. You know, the fence is a lot closer to the field, so it limits our long throws and little other things that we do. But we play well. The first half, especially, we could have scored first, and maybe the game would have been a lot different. They made good adjustments at halftime, which their credit. We lost a little bit of momentum, maybe the first 15 minutes of the second half. And our team has shown to me that they will never give up, but they feel when they get scored first. You know, it's the sign of a young team, and it takes a little while to catch up your second win. By the time they did, which we finished really, really strong, it was a little bit too late.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Well, able to bounce back quickly, and, you know, kind of the good news of this USA South Conference scheduling is if you do suffer a loss, you're able to get right back after it, and the Tornadoes deliver a 1-0 win at William Peace. Goal from J.P. Swarty on a Lucas Campos assist. Pleased with how the team bounced back for that 1-0 win at William Peace?
Absolutely, especially because, you know, it is what it is. Both teams have a game the day before, but it seems like the whole year long, our second game comes after a much tougher first game than the opponent. So they had a much easier match the day before, and they're a good team. Quite frankly, they could be one of the best teams we've seen this year. And there you go. I thought it was going to be a struggle, especially because of how tired the kids were. It was humid, it was raining, but it was also hot. But they decided that they were not going to be scored on first. And the whole year long, they started the games very well. And this time I told them, you start well, but you score first, and they did.
In this game sort of bucked a trend where, you know, for the most part this season, the Tornadoes have been out-shooting their opponents by sometimes very large margins. In this match against William Peace, it was actually the opposite. William Peace outshot the Tornadoes 19-9 on the offensive side. What did that mean in terms of, you know, Brevard having to withstand that sort of attack from William Peace?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there's different. There's shooting and shooting. I think if there were such a thing as computing the real chances to score, you know, that's what's more important. But
so in other words, just a shot that, you know, errantly goes off 20 yards wide of the goal mouth really shouldn't count for much anything.
Right, but they did have some good opportunities to score, and Patrick had a very good game, you know, without a doubt, and our defense. But with that said, you know, sometimes quality is more important than quantity, although I wish we had taken more shots that day, because we're becoming a very good shooting team. You know, we've been working very, very hard at it, and especially mid-range and long range. But because of they had to win that game. You know, they're trying to host first round, and so would we if we were eligible this year. But so that was a pivotal game for them, and they threw the house at us. So I was proud of the way we held.
Well, Coach, it seemed like it's been an endless, you know, stretch of road matches, just over and over again. Seems like we're wishing you all good luck on the road time and time again. But finally, some relief. 5 straight home matches, all in USA South Conference play to end the conference portion of the season at Ives Lamel Family Field. Last time we saw you under the lights at Ives Lamel Family Field, just that exciting 5-0 win over Maryville. First, let's talk about this road experience and, perhaps the things that the team was able to develop maybe quicker because, of all these road challenges.
Yeah, there's one thing about, as I mentioned, we're young, and when you're on the road, you remove a little bit of distractions. Not that I prefer that, but I got to look at the positives. And the bonding is much quicker, right? And because there were so many new players, that turned out to be a good thing for us. It happens to be that we played the tougher end of the conference, not discarding who we have ahead by all means. It's still going to be tough, but it made us be at a higher level coming to the second half of the season. So I feel good about where we are right now.
And 5 straight home matches. Can you talk about the benefits of playing at home?
Oh, this league, it's so up and down. And if you look at a common thread among all the teams, home sweet home, because each team has different settings. And, the only constant is the ball, which is the NCAA ball, but everything else is completely different. So when you practice at your pitch, day in, day out, you know the bounces, so to speak. You know how to weight your passes, how where are the spots in which you need to take a little less of the power on the passes. So all those things come together when you play at home, and so I look forward to that stretch. But with that said, our goal is to be consistent at home and on the road. And it was good that we won one on the road last Sunday, but a good team that wants to be a postseason team doesn't need to be choosing.
Now, in specific, Saturday versus Averett, Sunday versus Mary Baldwin at Ives Lamel Family Field. Can we talk about that side of it? 2 games in 2 days, how you have to approach that.
It's brutal. It's brutal. In my almost 30 years, I've always had at best Friday, Sunday, or a Thursday, Saturday, never back-to-back. So it's absolutely brutal, and hopefully this will change in the future. But since it's equal for everybody, at least that. But the bottom line is this. You open the rotation more on the second game. In other words, you go deeper on the bench and earlier. And then your recuperation between games is crucial. So heads up to our assistant coaches that did a great job giving ice baths at night at the hotel. And then we had to buy supplement electrolytes for the kids before and at halftime. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to perform, And the mental toughness of these kids, I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't know if I could have done what some of these guys did.
I'll ask you the same question, Coach, that I did the others who came on the program. This week's a unique week, fall break for the Brevard College campus. Students get a break from the classes. A normal student at Brevard College will typically maybe go home, this break and be able to get back with family. Not the case for the teams that are in season necessarily, with games happening this week and so forth. What is your plan for the men's soccer team this week during fall break?
Yeah, today we gave them the day off because after playing 2 back-to-backs, and you got to remember we had a midweek game last week too, so 3 games in 5 days. They needed a day off, so that was good for them. But starting from tomorrow on, not only we're going to watch a little more footage, but also do the training sessions. But the guys brought it up themselves to do a team activity, and I really like that. So we're going to do one on Wednesday. I think we're building something. You should see. I wish I had filmed. I actually should have, and we would have posted on Facebook our return home for, I don't even know, 4 hours. They're doing karaoke, and everybody in the team was participating, and you could tell that these guys enjoy each other, So this week is going to be more of the same, and I think that's we're wanting to qualify to the ECAC postseason, and so they want to stay doing this long, and that's what it takes because if you're really going to be a playoff team, a team that goes deep in the playoff, you got to enjoy each other, and these guys do.
Well, folks, hope you can come on out to Ives Lamel Family Field this weekend. Saturday's match starts at 2 p.m. versus Averett, and then Sunday, 1 p.m. versus Mary Baldwin at Ives Lamel Family Field. A great product, and appreciate your leadership, Coach L. Dana. Thanks for joining the show. We're going to talk to a couple of your student-athletes now. Coach, thanks for coming on
Thank
Tornado
you.
Talk.
See you soon.
All right, that was head coach El Dana as previewing this weekend's soccer matches at Ives Lamel Family Field on the campus of Brevard College. Tornadoes will take on Averett at 2 p.m. on Saturday, and then a 1 p.m. matchup against Mary Baldwin. And excited to be joined by these two men's soccer players. On my immediate left, Marquise Dickerson, and then on my far left, Lucas Silvani. Gentlemen, thanks for joining Tornado Talk.
Of course. Thank you for the invite.
Well, it's great to have you two on the show, and I do want to start with this weekend. You know, you had a big win against William Peace yesterday, a 1-0 win in Raleigh. J.P. Swarty with the game-winning goal. Can each of you recap yesterday's game and how it went?
I'd say we came out really strong in the first half. We high-pressed them, and that's how we ended up getting the goal, by causing them to make a mistake. And throughout the whole game, we had a really solid defensive effort, and it paid off in the end.
I think that was like our best game, defensive-wise. And in the beginning, we make like the best press I have ever seen. We create like 5 chances that we could have scored. And for me, like, we work really well as a team last game, and that's why we won. And I think we deserve it.
Now, I would like you guys to go in your memory banks just a little, and I'm not going too far back. I'm just going a week or two back. And if you remember, the Wednesday before homecoming, there was a match here at Ives Lamel Family Field, Brevard hosting Maryville. Maryville, if all observers of USA South Conference play were considered one of the big favorites heading into this year, defending champs of the conference. The Tornadoes end up with a 5-0 win with 3 of the 5 goals coming a man down. Just a remarkable result, no matter how much soccer you've ever watched in your life.
Right.
Can you guys reflect on how wild that game was and how good that felt to get that big of a win?
It felt really good, especially since it's Maryville. And I remember my sophomore year, we lost to them with like 9 seconds left in overtime, and it sucked. So coming out and beating them 5-0, and it was 5-0, but it was a hard-fought 5-0. And it was we finally started finishing our shots, and that's what was missing for most of the year, so it felt good.
For me, it was an amazing experience, even more for scoring my first goal in college and against such a hard team, such Maryville that all conference know is the best team around here. And we were proving ourselves and each other that we can be much better. And if we can beat Maryville, we can beat a lot of other teams, and that just shows that working as a team is like we are starting to gather even more and start to be like more than a team. We are starting to be more like a family. So when we went back to the locker room with that win, we could not believe, and it was an amazing feeling. But I'm pretty sure we worked hard for it. We were thinking about the game for more than a week. We know that we should brought that dub for home, and we did it. And I'm just proud of each and every one in the team.
Very good. Marquise, you're part of the defense who's, you guys have been shutting out opponents left and right, including that 1-0 shutout against William Peace. Can you talk about your unit, defensively, and, maybe some of the other guys along with yourself who are doing such a great job back there?
Right, so most of the games it's been the 4 seniors starting, and we've been playing with each other for 4 years, so we have that natural chemistry, and when it comes to communication, that's always nice because you know how they play and you know how each other play. So there's a point to where you don't have to talk as much, but I mean, of course, talking is still important. And then we have guys like David and Chavi that come off the bench, and Evan, and it's like when the subs come in, there's no it's not like you're losing like a key player or anything. Everybody just fits in. And then with the midfield and the forwards, they all do their job of coming back and helping when there's a counterattack or whenever we need help. So it's a great. And then we have Patrick, of course, and Patrick's a different beast. So.
And Luca, as a forward primarily, how important is it for you to help out on the defensive side?
I think it's pretty important. I think our team is like a collective team, so if each one do the right part. Like if one do the right job, we can have a better result in the end. And last year I played more as a left back, so I'm kind of used to going back from the wing to help the defense. And I think that's the standout part of our team because our attack goes back a lot, and that helps the defense. And when we can get the ball on the defense, we have a fast transition to the attack. So I only see positive things about coming back to help the defense.
Luca, I'd like to stick with you. You know, you've come from Brazil
Yeah.
to here in Brevard, North Carolina, and there's several Brazilians on this year's team. Can you talk about, the differences between Brazil and Brevard, North Carolina, and how much you like it here?
I like it a lot. Like Brevard is not my first experience in the United States, but it's much different than California where I stayed last year. But I can say I'm liking Brevard a lot so far. Playing here is one of the most amazing experiences I ever had. The crowd over there, I just feel like part of the family in the Brevard College. Like all the teachers, all my teammates and friends that I already make in the college. And the difference between here and Brazil, there are many. Like in Brazil, we try to play more slow, like a technical, but here you gotta be physical, you gotta be fast, you gotta be strong, and the most important, you gotta be smart with your choice. Because if you miss one call, you will pay for it. And most of our games are like that today. So I just think playing here helps me to be smarter, even with my decisions outside the field. So I just see positive things too.
And Marquise, you're a native of North Carolina, so not as far traveled as many of your teammates from all over the world. But you're a senior, as you mentioned, and you, along with several other of those kind of core senior group, has been here for a while. Can you talk about, if you can reflect back a little, if I don't get the chance to talk to you between now and senior day, just what it's meant to be a Tornado?
It's been great. It's the only place I tried to come for soccer, so it was nice to make the team. And it was away from home, and I've enjoyed the time away from home, and it let me grow as a person. And the coaches I've had, starting with Coach Shug, and of course Coach L now, it's been great. I feel like I've grown as a man, and that it was the best decision of my life. So.
Very good. Well, keep up the good work, gentlemen. You all have been playing some really fascinating and exciting soccer as of late, and looking forward to that continuing this weekend with 2 matches on your home field. Before I let you go, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to or say hello to who might be tuning in or watching this program on replay?
Any of the boys that are watching, I'm ready to keep going and make the ECAC.
And the same opportunity for you, Luca. The cool thing about broadcasts like these is, thanks to the internet, you can see it all over the world. So the floor is yours.
Just send a hi to my family in Brazil again. I hope they're watching. If they're not, I hope you can watch sometime. And I miss you guys, and thank you for giving me the opportunity for being here.
Well, great job on the program. Good luck this weekend. We'll see you out at Ives Lamel Family Field. Thanks for joining the show, fellas. All right, that was Marquise Dickerson and Luca Silvani of that Brevard College men's soccer team. Great to have them on the show, and just want to thank everybody for joining the show tonight. It was a action-packed program here on Tornado Talk. We had cycling student athletes Hannah Arnsman and Carson Beckett. Congratulations again to the Brevard College cycling team. A third-place Team Omnium finish at the Mountain Bike National Championships all the way in Big Bear Lake, California. An individual national championship for Tyler Clark. Congratulations to Tyler Clark in the entire Brevard College Tornado cycling program, and coaches Brad Purley and Cypress Gorey. By the way, the Tornadoes 9 podium finishes and 16 top 10 finishes at that national championships in Big Bear Lake, and the Brevard College community was able to greet the team as they arrived back on campus this afternoon. So appreciate Hannah and Carson making some time for us as they are recovering from that long trip. Also had head women's soccer coach Juan Mascaro on the show. Thank you, Coach Mascaro. We had volleyball student athletes Morgan Graham and Hannah Gordon. We had head football coach Bill Kyatt. Appreciate Coach coming on the show, as well as head men's soccer coach El Dana. Thank you to Coach Dana. And wrapping up the show, Lucas Silvani and Marquise Dickerson, two of those men's soccer student athletes. Great to have them on the program. Want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. Hope to see you out at some home events this week. This Wednesday, volleyball will be in action. Finally, back at home at the Bosch, a 6 p.m. start. You'll get a chance to see Defensive Player of the Week for the USA South, Mariana Rodriguez, along with two of her teammates who we had on the show, Morgan Graham and Hannah Gordon, and the entire Tornadoes volleyball team. This Wednesday, October 16th, 6 p.m. at the Bosch. Saturday, football versus Huntington at Brevard Memorial Stadium. That will be a big one. It is the Crucial Catch game as well this Saturday. A great program there. Think Pink, all sorts of great awareness at that game. Saturday, October 19th, 2 p.m., men's soccer versus Avery at Ives Lamel Family Field. And to cap your weekend off of Brevard College Tornadoes athletics action, on Sunday, 1 p.m., the men's soccer team will face off against Mary Baldwin at Ives Lamel Family Field. Follow the latest news and updates surrounding Brevard College athletics on Twitter and Instagram at BC Tornadoes. Subscribe to Brevard College Tornadoes on YouTube. Follow Brevard College Tornadoes on SoundCloud. And be sure to like the Brevard College athletics account on Facebook. And also check out Flickr and follow Brevard College. You'll find photo albums from all Brevard College events, both athletics and non-athletics related. Want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and Dugan's Pub. And finally, want to thank those behind the scenes, Joseph Marvin, Mariana Rodriguez, and Jatasha Hollinger. Thank you all for joining the program for another edition of Tornado Talk. Go Tornadoes!